welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to Vlogtober. It is day 27. Can you believe it? We have made it 27 days into Vlogtober. I think we're gonna get there. I think we're gonna get it to the end. Thank you so much for being here. It has been so much fun documenting this last month of our lives. And about a week ago or so, I asked you guys if you had any questions, because I'd love to sit down and film a Q&A. And thank you so much to the beautiful people who responded with questions. I was so excited to get them, and I'm just going to get straight into it and answer these questions as best as I can. If you are new here and you don't know who I am, I'll just very quickly introduce myself. My name is Joelle. I am married to David and we have 5 beautiful children. I'm a pastor's wife, I am homeschooling, and I have kids in school, and yeah, we live in Canberra, Australia. So that is who we are, and I love to film all things mum life. And some beautiful friends have given me some great questions for this Q&A, and so here we go. Let's start with the first one. The first one is from Melissa. Thank you so much, Melissa. And she says, how are the boys going at school? The transition from homeschool to school, etc. That is a fantastic question. This is like such a focus of my life at the moment. So we have homeschooled our kids from birth basically, and just last term my 2 eldest boys started at school, and it has been a transition for sure. It hasn't just been like, oh, they could just blend straight into school, but they are doing very well. We're very blessed with great teachers, great staff at the school, and they've been very understanding and very accommodating to the boys transitioning into school life. So there's definitely been some struggles, there's definitely been some tears, there's definitely been frustration, but that's all been part of a very, I guess, steep learning curve, but they're coming through it okay. And I would say, I was talking to one of the teachers just the other day actually, that I would say if it was like out of 10, I would say 8 out of 10 days are good, and we've got the occasional 1 or 2 days that are hard for them, but they're doing really well and they're showing a lot of resilience and they're learning a lot. So I'm very proud of them, and yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what it's like at the end of this term, having a whole nother term under our belt as well. So they're doing well. Thank you for asking. Okay, the next question also from Melissa. Thank you again, Mel. How do you cope with overwhelm? Yeah, fantastic question, because I get overwhelmed a lot as a mum to 5, as I'm sure any other mum out here does. It doesn't matter how many kids we have, we all get overwhelmed. I would like to say that I deal with overwhelm really well and I do all the right things, but that just simply isn't true. When I do deal with my overwhelm in the right way, I certainly go to God, I certainly go to the Lord Jesus, and I give him my burdens, and I ask for his help and for his strength. I mean, I would say I regularly do that. Practically speaking, I sleep. When I get really stressed, I go to sleep. I take a lot of naps. I sort of go inward in a way. So I guess it's a good and a bad thing, because it's sort of like giving yourself a timeout. I try to, it just depends, I guess, on the situation, like what exactly I'm dealing with. If it's at all possible, like if it's something really intense during the day, once the kids are in bed and it's quiet, I'll try to watch like a favorite show or something like that, just something fun and distracting as well. So good distractions. Sometimes though, I'm like avoiding the situation. Like I avoid, if I'm really overwhelmed, I just go into an avoidance mode, and that's really bad. So if I'm distracting myself to the point of not actually tackling whatever needs to be dealt with, that's not good. And I do that more often than I should. So yeah, but prayer, distraction, and sleep. That's usually how I deal with overwhelm. So you probably can hear my heater going. It's freezing. It is almost November and it is absolutely freezing. I was shivering outside today. So the heaters are back on and I am over my cold, but I still sound like I have one a little bit. So I hope you can bear with me. Okay. This one is from Kylie. Thank you so much, Kylie. And it says, does Pastor Dave have any of his messages online? Have you ever preached yourself? What a fantastic question. These questions are really good, actually. So yes, he does. If you ever want to listen to any of his messages, you can go onto our church's website, which is just Imaginations Church Canberra, or in Church Canberra, and you will find us there, and all the podcasts are up there, so please feel free to listen to his messages. Now, the question of me preaching, that is a really interesting one, and so put simply, yes, I have preached. I don't preach very often, and when I say I preach, I guess it would come, how do I word this? I don't do it in the sense that I am like preaching, you know what I mean? It's more that I'm sharing from my heart. Being married to Dave, I don't do that lightly. I do that very much with his blessing and with his covering. Sometimes we have actually preached together, like we'll come together and share around a topic or a scripture, and you know, sort of have that man and woman opinion and point of view, and that's been really fun doing that. And then sometimes I have preached or shared to the church, and that's a great honor, and it's a real privilege, and I definitely don't take it lightly. I actually get extremely nervous doing that, but I just see myself as a vessel, and if the Lord can use me in any way, then I am willing. I do prefer to not. I don't feel like that is where my greatest gifting is, if you know what I mean. I definitely love to communicate and talk and that sort of thing, but I love to be in that support role. And so if Dave does, you know, need that assistance, or you know, he's been preaching for 5 or 6 weeks in a row or something like that, and he would benefit from me coming and sharing something, then I'm very happy to do that. And of course, I can only share what the Lord would put on my heart. I can't ever get up there and just make something up, you know what I mean? It's got to be, so it's usually something that I'm myself, you know, being convicted of or going through, and you know, just allowing the Lord to help me share that the best I can in a way that serves the church. It's not in a way that's over the church, it's in a way that's, you know, in serving the church, serving the flock basically. So yeah, and it's a real privilege. But thank you, that's a great question. Thank you so much for asking. Okay, Danny asks, what are you reading at the moment? Thank you, Danny, and that's such a good question coming from you, because you are my reading inspiration and reading sister. So I am part of a little book club actually with you, Danny, and one other beautiful lady, and we're going through this book right now, Gentle and Lowly. I have to be honest, I'm only 4 chapters in, but I'm enjoying it. I usually struggle to read books that are not fiction. I love fiction or biographies. I love stories, but I'm finding this book to be great. It's sort of like a bit of a, it's not, so I don't know if we call it a devotional or not, but it's a real look into the heart of Jesus for people who are suffering, for people who are going through a hard time. And so yeah, I'm enjoying that and looking forward to getting into it more. So that's Gentle and Lowly by Dane Ortlund. I think I've said that correctly. Okay, you'll laugh at me if you have like watched anything from like 3 months ago where I was reading this book. I'm still reading this book. I'm almost there. Look, you can see where I'm up to. I am getting there. We've just had so much going on, and life is so busy. And when I read, I really need to just like set time out to read. You know what I mean? I don't just want to read 2 pages. I want to be able to get through a whole chapter or whatever. So I know I just need to be a little bit more disciplined, but I am going to finish this. So this is The Lady's Mind by Francine Rivers. I love anything by Francine Rivers. She's a great author. Of course, I'm reading my Bible. That's very important. This is the next novel I have bought. I haven't started it yet, but it is by Jodie Headland. I think I've said that right. I've read now like 3 or 4 of her novels, and I really like them. She's a fantastic Christian author, historical Christian author. I love everything she writes. So I'm looking forward to getting into this one. So you can see it's nice and new and never been read. And yeah, that's it. That's all I'm reading at the moment. But I endeavor to be a better reader. I want to read more. Okay, also from Danny, do you watch The Chosen? Yes, I do, but I have not seen past season 2. I don't think. I think I've seen season 1 and 2. I need to get back into it because I know there's more available to watch, and I know it's a fantastic series. Also, Danny, thank you so much for your questions. Go to comfort meal. Oh my gosh. You're asking someone who loves many comfort meals. Now, savory or sweet? Because, you know, if I had to choose between savory and sweet, I'd definitely go sweet. But as far as a meal, obviously, anything with carbs, anything with that high carb hit is a comfort meal. So obviously pizza. There is actually, oh my gosh, in Canberra, I just discovered it, a pizza restaurant called Bronx Pizza, and on the box it says New York comes to Canberra, and the pizza boxes, I'm not kidding, are like this big, and it's delicious. I like Domino's, but it's nothing like Domino's. It's not too thick, it's not too thin, heaps of topping, like every flavor. So I love a good pizza. I also am really starting to love Korean food as well. So Korean fried chicken. I know it's not the healthiest of options, but you did say comfort meal. I've just lost my my questions. Where am I? Okay. And then sweet, anything chocolate. And lately, unfortunately, I've had this whole thing with lollies. I'm going back to my childhood. I'm like actual lollies, like Allen lollies, anything like that. So yeah, too much. I could talk about food. I'd take this whole video and just talk about food. That's probably not a good thing. Danny as well, what's been your favorite holiday? Oh, that is a hard one. I've been really blessed in my life to be able to travel, and I'm so grateful for that. So when I was younger, having a lot of family in the States, we did quite a few trips throughout my childhood into adulthood to the States. And so obviously I have very fond memories of traveling with my parents and brother and sister, and, you know, seeing family and doing theme parks and Grand Canyon and all those sorts of things. They were really fun. But with my immediate family, I would have to say, oh, it's a hard one. Both of them would have been Poland. One of those times being before Michaela was born, we went with our 4 kids to Poland for, I don't know how long we were gone, maybe 3 weeks, and it was just so special. Dave's grandpa was still living, and his grandma still is, and his other grandpa as well, and so we were able to go and introduce like their great grandkids and see family and be in the snow and all the history, and it was fun. It was like hectic. It was full on. And at the time, sometimes it was really overwhelming, but it's the sort of trip you look back on and you're like, that was such a rich, valuable trip. I'm so glad I went on that. And then the other one that I would say was so fun was actually, again, Poland, but we only went, was the fastest trip of your life. Within 7 days, we left Australia and we were back within 7 days because it was for his cousin's wedding, and it was just Dave and I and my parents, and his parents took care of our 4 kids, and basically we traveled for 2 days. We were in Poland for 3 days, and no, we were in Poland for 4 days, I can't remember. And then we were back for another 2 days, but it was a whirlwind trip and it was amazing. It was just amazing to be in Europe with my husband. Like, that was incredible. And actually, Michaela came to be through that trip. So there you go. Michaela has had some experience in Poland as well. So definitely the Poland trips have been really special. Okay, we've got Mazzy Poppins is asking, how do you answer people who say they don't believe in God? Wow, that is such a great question. And, you know, for me personally, like, I believe as a Christian, we have an intelligent gospel. So science doesn't point away from God. Science actually points directly to God. You cannot create something out of nothing. There has to have been an ultimate creator. There couldn't have just been a big bang out of nowhere. There had to have been, and there has to be, a creator in order to create something. And I personally find it a lot harder to believe in evolution and the thought that we come from nothing and we go to nothing. Like, just look at the world around you. Don't look at the evil, because, and actually that's another point, I'll get to that in a second, but look at the beauty of the world around you. That was created. That was not accidental. Look at your child. Look at your newborn baby's face. That was not a result of a blob of matter evolving over time. That is a perfect human being that was designed, created, knitted, and formed in their mother's womb. Like, I find it so much easier to believe in the creator, in God, than to think that we could have come from nothing and we've evolved and we came from monkeys, and before that we were fish, and before that we were matter. Like, that does not make sense. That is way more far-fetched to me than believing in God. Like, it's just so much easier to believe in God. And then I like to think as well, and this is like a sad way of thinking about it, but look at all the evil in the world. Like, and that is not from God. That is from the enemy. That is from the devil, that I fully believe. Like, you can see the evidence of evil on the earth, and evil did not come from nothing either. You know what I mean? And so if you can see, and there's a lot of people who maybe don't believe in God, but they're very spiritual and they believe in the spiritual realm and all of that. So if you can see or sense the evil in, you know, the evil realm, which I know a lot of people who don't believe in God do, if you can sense the evil, then you have to know that on the other side of that there is good, and there is a good side, and that's God. That is God. And I believe in Jesus. I believe that God came to humanity in person as Jesus, and he has come to give us this free gift, not of just of eternal life with him, but of life right now, life to the fullest. Doesn't mean a trial-free life, but it means a life living alongside the creator who made us. And so wouldn't you so much rather believe that you have a hope and a purpose and a future, that you were designed to be here, you are here for a time such as this, you're here for a purpose, than to think you came from nothing and you're going to nothing and life is pointless? Like, for me, it's so much easier. And it's not just easier, it is easier, but it's like, I can't not believe in God. You know what I mean? It's just, I can't not. So yeah, thank you. That is a wonderful question. Okay, from Mel, what is your favorite passage of Bible, what is your favorite passage or Bible story, and why? Oh my gosh, these are such wonderful questions. Okay, I have my Bible handy. Isaiah 65, verse 20. I know that passage because I have recited it over and over and over and over and over again, but without going into the whole backstory, as you may or may not know, I was very sick when my third child was born, and basically I didn't want to live anymore, and I had no hope for the future, and there was just a lot of bad stuff going on, and I was so fearful for my children. I felt guilty for having kids. It was just a terrible time. And I remember coming across this passage, and actually I wasn't even reading Isaiah at that time. I don't even know if I was reading anything actually, but I felt in my heart, read Isaiah, open up to Isaiah. And so I opened up to this, and this is what it says. Isaiah 65:20, no more shall there be in it an infant who lives but a few days, or an old man who does not fill out his days. For the young man shall die 100 years old, and the sinner 100 years old shall be accursed. They shall build houses and inhabit them. They shall plant vineyards and eat their fruit. They shall not build and another inhabit. They shall not plant and another eat. For like the days of a tree shall the days of my people be, and my chosen shall long enjoy the work of their hands. They shall not labor in vain, or bear children for calamity, for they shall be the offspring of the blessed of the Lord, and their descendants with them. Before they call, I will answer. While they are yet speaking, I will hear. And that just filled me with so much hope, because you have to understand, I was in such a hopeless place. I had no hope for the future at all. And that was just a confirmation of, you did not bring children forth for harm, you did not bring children forth in vain, that God has a purpose and a plan, and he will take care of us. And yeah, and I had to read that every single day for many years, and it really got me through a very hard time. Okay, this question is from Sarah. It says, what ways do you allow time for yourself and also time for you and Dave? Wonderful question. A question I probably need to take really seriously and improve on in my life. We are in such a crazy busy season. I mean, not only just having kids and everything else, but I think everybody finds that this October into November season just really builds up before Christmas, and it gets a little bit crazy. So for myself, honestly, the only time at this point that I can really get to myself is either late in the evening, like right now, or early in the morning. So I have to be quite intentional about getting that time. And yes, so I love when the house is quiet and everyone's sleeping. It's such a satisfying feeling to know that they're all asleep and they're all good, and I can just have this moment. Like, I absolutely love that. I know I need to go back to the gym. I have not been back I have not been back to the gym for many, many months, but that was something that I really enjoyed doing. I was doing dance classes, even though I'm the most uncoordinated person in the world, but I really loved it. It was really fun. So I think that would be good for me to get back into. As far as spending time with Dave, for the most part, again, when the kids go to bed on the evenings that he has free, which is not every evening, but on the times that we had, there's usually 2 nights in a week that we can sit down and we'll watch, we're so into K-drama, so we watch K-drama together, or there's some commentators, sorry, that we really love, and we'll sit down and watch them. So we like to veg out. We're a veg out couple, so yeah, we like to sit on the couch with our favorite snacks and watch something that we'll enjoy. We are really actually quite excited that we're coming to this sort of phase now with our eldest being almost 13, that we have been able to duck out for a few minutes here and there, with him in charge with a phone and good neighbors on either side, and us not being too far away. We feel comfortable to be able to go for a coffee. You know, there's a cafe that's literally about 4 minutes from our house. There's actually one even closer, and so that's been really nice. This is brand new. This is not this is still something we're trying to wrap our heads around and get used to, because I still feel like, oh my gosh, this feels so weird. But the kids actually really love when we go out. They want us to go out. They seem to like to have the independence and responsibility. So we have some very strict rules, and we have people, you know, if it's longer than, you know, 5 minutes, then they know our neighbors, and we also have people who live really close by that are on standby in case there was, you know, we needed to send somebody to the house or something. But yeah, that's sort of new, and I feel like as they get older, we're going to be able to do that more, which is really exciting. So we're entering into this new sort of phase where, yeah, we don't really have babies anymore. Like, they'll always be our babies, but we have a little bit more independence in that regard. So yeah, spending some time together like that. Head, Hands, Heart Homeschool says, how do you share the gospel with unbelieving friends and family? Wow, what an incredible question. You know, so for us, when it comes to our family, that's a great question. You know, our family know us, and they know what we believe, and for the most part, especially very close family, we have shared the gospel, and there comes a point where we don't need to continue to verbally share our thoughts and beliefs, because we know that they already know what we think. And so for us, the most important thing is that we do our best to live out the gospel with them, to live out the love of Christ. And we don't always get that perfect, and we don't always get that right, but we just have to trust that we can be a light, and if the Lord would allow us to have an impact in our family members' life, that would be amazing. The most important thing for us is that we remain very loving, because we love them. We love them regardless, and especially that's why we want to share the gospel, because we love them so much. But wanting to live out that love for them, and also we pray for our family. I pray every day for our family, because I love them so much. And yeah, so that's a really good question. As far as friends are concerned, I am a really big believer in that actions speak louder than words, and that doesn't mean that I don't verbally share, because I do, but it has never really made sense for me to walk up to somebody that I'm not that close to and just share all my beliefs, you know, like that doesn't, I don't think it's that effective, you know. And so I've always found that it's better to genuinely become somebody's friend and be there for them and be their friend, and let them see your life, let them see your actions, because actions speak louder than words. And then I just pray, I'm like, Lord, would you give me an opportunity to share your love? Would you give me an opportunity to share your, you know, your truth, and to bring hope, you know, or that sort of thing to this person? And often he does, and it's in little conversations, and, you know, here and there, and they might be going through something, and I'll ask them, is it all right if I pray for you? Or I'll let them know I'm going to be praying for you, or, you know, or I'll share a similar experience from my own life and talk about how, you know, when I was going through that time, I'm just so grateful that I had the Lord in my life to help me. And, you know, and then obviously there's been times where we can invite friends to fun events and things like that we're having at the church. That's always really good. But I think people need to know that you care about them, like genuinely care about them, before you go and, you know, try to shove your beliefs, you know, because the gospel is beautiful, and the gospel is a message of love and hope and peace, and it needs to be delivered like really well. Do you know what I mean? It's not something that we're just throwing around. Like, it is really precious. And so, yeah, I hope that answers your question. It's a really good question, actually. Alrighty, Chantel says, I know you and your husband both had parents that immigrated. I wonder if you've ever entertained the idea of moving overseas, and where to, if so, and if not yet, where would you like to live overseas? Oh my gosh, I love that question so much. So yes, David's parents immigrated from Poland and to Australia, and my parents immigrated from America to Australia, and my parents' immigrated also from Poland. Well, they didn't, no, sorry, their parents, but they also have immigrant families basically that came from Poland and Sweden as well. So we've got a lot of families that have come from abroad to bring us to where we are at now. And yes, absolutely, we have many times talked about, oh, wouldn't it be great to move here and move there? Often over the years, not now, not presently, but you know, before we moved to Canberra, we would entertain the idea of what would it be like to move to Europe. We have thought about that with Poland, because Dave can get his European citizenship, he can get his Polish citizenship, and we then can also get citizenship there. I don't think that we would want to move there long term, but we did, especially when we were homeschooling, and we were not in the ministry, considering, oh, we could live, you know, 3 months at a time or 6 months at a time, that sort of thing. So we've definitely had thoughts like that, or gone for, we want to go for a really long time, that sort of thing, just live and rent and work or whatever. I've also many times had the thought of returning to the US, which is where I was born. I was actually born in America. So I am a dual citizen. So I have my US citizenship, and I am a citizen of Australia too. So yeah, many times, and I still very much have a heart for America. That's never left me, and especially the state it's in at the moment. It's so sad. And so I have this heart for the States, but I don't believe that we are being called to move overseas, at least not at this point. We feel very settled and like we are meant to be in Canberra, but certainly we are just always open up to the will of God, wherever that may be. Right now and indefinitely, we see ourselves here, but yeah, in the past, we've definitely thought about America, definitely thought about Poland. But yeah, I don't think we're thinking that way for the future now, but it is a fun thought to think. It is a fun thought. I definitely want to go visit those places as many times as I can, that's for sure. Anna asks, I'd like to ask how you decided to work in the field of aged care, and if you have previously worked in similar fields in the past, will you be working shift work or regular shifts all round? Yes, so I finished school at 18. I actually began my RNs when I was 18. I went to university for one semester, and after one semester was like, nah, I don't think so. And I don't regret it. I do regret it, and I don't regret it, because I know mentally I was not ready to go straight from high school into university. And I'm glad that I didn't do it, because I ended up going to TAFE, getting my aged care nursing certificate, marrying Dave, and the rest is history, basically. So I am happy with that decision, but there's been a part of me that's always wanted to go back and finish my studies, and maybe I will one day. But long story short, I have worked in a nursing home for pretty much almost 11 years. Yeah, over 10 years I worked in the nursing home back in Penrith, and sometimes I worked full-time, and then often I was casual because I was having babies, had a lot of babies. So between kids and having kids, I would work shifts here and there, and I enjoyed being casual because there was no pressure on my end. I could choose my hours. And then when I was pregnant with Michaela in 2020, I stopped working because COVID had just hit. And I was very nervous about it all, and we still just didn't know all that much about it. And I was already pregnant, and I think I was considering working up to 6 or 7 months. I was probably only 3 months at the time, and we just decided to call it quits there. And so I have not been back to work in the aged care sector until this week. So it's been like 3.5, almost 4 years. And I'm so excited to be back. I am coming back as a casual. I am looking to do, at this point in time, 2 night shifts a week, if that's possible. The nights obviously pay better than the days. I also really like the night shift. I did a lot of nights back in Penrith. It's hard work, but the pace is a little slower and you can really take your time with the residents who are up, and it's not so rushed because people don't have places to be and that sort of thing. So it's nice. I enjoy the night shift. So hoping to get 2 nights a week to begin with, and then next year when all 5 of my kids, which is another thing I have to update everybody on, are attending school. Michaela will probably be attending preschool 2 to 3 days a week, and so when that happens, I could possibly then be permanent part-time or still casual, but maybe working a little bit more. We'll just see how we go. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. Oh no, I've lost my, yeah, here we go. Okay, and the last question is from Cherie. I think it's similar. It says, I'd love to know more about you going back to work, more about generally working in aged care. I'm actually almost finished my studies and have been looking for information on day in the life or information about the role. How will you manage working as a mum? Wow. Well, first of all, congratulations, Cherie, on doing your studies. That is wonderful. And I just love aged care, and you're going to love it too. It's such a rewarding job. It really is. Like, it's a job, but you go home feeling really like fulfilled, you know what I mean? Like, because you really are making a difference in someone's life. So yeah, so I am going back, like I was just saying in the other question. Day in the life, I guess it's going to depend on which shift you do. So generally speaking, in nursing homes and in aged care, there are 3 main shifts: the morning, the afternoon, and the night. The morning shifts, in my opinion, are the hardest. They're the fastest paced, but they're also great. Like, they go really quick because you're working very hard, but you get to be there in the daytime and see everybody awake and alert, and you see a lot of family members in that time as well, which is really nice. And so it's really full on. It's really, that's my cuckoo clock. It's really people focused. And I mean, for me, when I used to do morning shifts, I would start at 6 a.m. This is back in Penrith. And before 7:30, I would probably have about 4 or 5 residents that I had helped either to shower and dress, or just to be out of bed and dressed and ready for breakfast. And then I'd assist with feeding residents and serving breakfast to residents. And then after breakfast, we would do our higher care residents that required 2 or 3 nurses to care for at the same time. And there would be morning tea time, and then we would clean and make beds, and then it would be lunchtime, and then our shift would be over. Afternoon shift would be us coming in after lunchtime. A lot of residents at that point wanted to go back to their rooms and back to bed, and basically the afternoon was spent getting everybody slowly back into bed. There was also afternoon showers and bed baths and things like that, helping with dinner, similar to the morning, but just in reverse and a little bit slower paced, because by this point nobody has appointments to be going to and that sort of thing, and getting everyone into bed, brushing of teeth, pajamas, you know, all of that sort of thing. And then the night shift is, well, this shift actually is way better. This night that I will be doing is 11 p.m. to 7 a.m., which I am just overjoyed about because I feel like those hours are fantastic. My old night shift used to be 8:45 p.m. to 6 a.m., and that was really hard. That was quite tough. But on the night shift, you do your rounds, and so obviously you are changing residents that maybe need a change through the night. You're repositioning these beautiful residents so they don't get pressure sores and things like that. A lot of the times, if you're dealing with dementia, you'll have people up, and that's what I mean when it's nice to not have to rush. You can really take your time and talk with people and help people. People wake up hungry, and you the kitchen, is usually a tray or something like that left out for people to have access to food, and so you go and you serve them a cup of tea and a sandwich or whatever they have. And yeah, you do 2 or 3 rounds in a night shift, and there's a bit of cleaning, a lot of, I should have said, there's filing and paperwork or computer work on every shift. You keep records and files, and yeah, that's basically the role that I would do as an AIN. Sometimes we would do blood pressure, dressings, temperature, things like that, but for the most part the ENs and the RNs did that. But it is a skill that AINs need to have, because sometimes their other nurses are too busy. But yeah, that's a really in-depth answer, I hope, to your question. I hope it helps you, and I'm sure you are going to absolutely love it. I personally am so excited to be back into it. That is all of the questions. Thank you so much for asking them. I really had fun filming this, and I will be back for day 28 of Vlogtober tomorrow. Thank you so much for being here. God bless you. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.